Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to continue the lesson Ramanujan. Okay. In last period, I have told you about Ramanujan. Who is he? Ramanujan, famous mathematician. Okay. Once again, we will just quickly revise some portions we have done. Okay. One morning, early in 1930, Hardy found among the letters on his breakfast table a large untidy envelope decorated with Indian stamps. When he opened it, he found sheets of paper by no means clean, in which in a non-English script were line after line of symbols. Hardy glanced at them with enthusiasm. He felt more than anything bored. He glanced at the letter written in halting English signed by an unknown Indian asking him to give an opinion of these mathematical discoveries. So he had written in a very untidy way, and he is asking to the Hardy, he is an English mathematician, his opinion on these mathematical discoveries. The script appeared to consist of theorems, most of them wild or fantastic looking, one or two already well known, laid out as though they were original. There were no proofs of any kinds. Hardy was not only bored but also irritated. It seemed like a curious kind of fraud. He put the manuscript aside and went on with his day's routine. After lunch, he looked off for a game of real tennis in the university court. If it had been summer, he would have walked down to Fennes to watch cricket. In the late afternoon, he strolled back to his rooms. That particular day, though, while the timetable wasn't all altered, internally things were not going according to plan. At the back of his mind, getting in the way of his complete pleasure in this game, the Indian manuscript nagged away wild theorems such he had never seen before nor imagined. A fraud of genius. A fraud of genius. The question was forming itself with epigrammatic clarity. Is a fraud of genius more probable than an unknown mathematician of genius? Clearly, the answer was no. Back in his room in Trinity, he had another look at the script. He sent word to Littlewood, probably by messenger, certainly not by telephone, for which, like all mechanical controversies, including fountain pens, he had a deep distrust that they must have a discussion after all. Before midnight, they knew for certain the writer of this manuscript was a man of genius. That was as much as they could judge that night. It was only later that Hardy decided that Ramanujan was, in terms of natural mathematics, in the class of Gauss and Euler, but that he could not expect because of this defects of education, because he had come on the scene too late in the line of mathematical history to make contribution on the same scale. The following day, Hardy went into action. Ramanujan must be brought to England. Hardy decided money was not a major problem. Trinity had usually been good and supporting unorthodox talent. The college had been the same for Kapitsa a few years later. Once Hardy was determined, no human agency could have stopped Ramanujan, but they needed certain amount of help from a superhuman one. Now Ramanujan turned out to a poor clerk in Madras. that is Chennai, living with his wife on 20 pounds a year. He was usually strict about his religious observances, with a mother who was even stricter. It seemed impossible that he could break the ban and cross the wet water. Fortunately, his mother had the highest respect for the goddess of Namakkal. One morning, Ramanuja's mother made a startling announcement. She had a dream the previous night in which he saw her son seated in a big hall among a group of Europeans, and the goddess of Namakkal and had commanded her not to stand in the way of her son fulfilling his life's purpose. This, say Ramanuja's Indian biographers, was a very agreeable surprise to all the concerned. In 1940, Ramanujan arrived in England. So far as Hardy could detect, though in this respect, I should not trust his insight far. Ramanujan, despite the difficulties of breaking the caste laws, did not believe much in theological doctrine except for a vague pantheistic benevolence any more than Hardy did himself. But he did certainly believe in ritual. When Trinity put him up in college, within 4 years, he became a fellow. There was no Alan St. Euban self-indulgence for him at all. Hardy used to find him ritually change into his pajamas, cooking vegetables rather miserably in a frying pan in his own room. Their association was strongly touching one. Hardy did not forget he was in the presence of genius, even in mathematics. Although almost untrained, Ramanujan had been able to enter Madras Chennai University because he could not matriculate in English. According to Hardy's report, he was always amiable and good-natured. Who is amiable and good-natured? Ramanujan. But no doubt he sometimes found Hardy's conversation outside mathematics more than a little baffling. Baffling is very strange or difficult. He seems to have listened with a patient smile on his good, friendly, homely face. So he seems very calm, friendly, and homely. Okay, so up to this we have done. Up to this we have done. Okay. See, now, even inside mathematics, they had to come to terms with the difference in their education. Yes, of course, the difference in the education. Hardy, he was born and brought up in England. He takes education as he takes very nice education. Okay, although he get all the opportunities, or what we can say, all the facilities which are very important for the education. And Ramanujan was self-taught. He knew nothing of the modern rigor. In a sense, he didn't know what a proof was. In an uncharacteristically sentimental moment, Hardy once wrote that if he had been better educated, he would have been less Ramanujan. Coming back to his ironic senses, Hardy later corrected himself and said that the statement was nonsense. If Ramanujan had been better educated, he would have been even more wonderful than he was. In fact, Hardy was obliged to teach him some formal mathematics as though Ramanujan had been a scholarship candidate at Winchester. Hardy said that this was the most singular experience of his life. What did modern mathematics look like to someone who had the deepest insight but who had literally never heard of it? Never heard most of it. So see, Hardy was obliged to teach him some formal mathematics as though Ramanujan had been a scholarship candidate at Winchester. See, Ramanujan is a very scholar. Okay. So he is a scholarship candidate at Winchester. Hardy said that this was the most singular experience in his life. What did modern mathematics look like to someone who had the deepest insight but who had literally never heard of it? It is good to remember that England gave Ramanujan such honors as were possible. So England people, they will give Ramanujan such an honor. The Royal Society elected him a fellow at the age of 30. When he was at the age of 30, an award, fellow means an award, a title, an honor given by Royal Society of England. That is a fellow, fellowship karte na fellow. Which even for a mathematician is a very young, in the age of 30. So he was very young, Ramanujan, that he got the award of a fellow. He was the first Indian to be given either of these distinctions. He was amiably grateful, but he soon became ill. Hardy used to visit him as he lay dying in hospital at Putney. It was one of those visits that there happened the incident, the taxi cab number. Hardy had gone to the Putney by taxi as usual. He chosen method of conveyance. Conveyance means here a vehicle. He went into the room where Ramanujan was lying. जहाँ पे Ramanujan ill थे वो जहाँ पे सो रहे थे. Hardy, always clumsy about introducing a conversation, said probably without a greeting, and certainly at his first remark. The number of my taxi cab was 1729. It seemed to me rather a dull number, to which Ramanujan replied. So taxi cab number is 1729, but it seems to be very dull. So Ramanujan replied, no, Hardy, it is very interesting number. It is the smallest number expressible as the sum of two cubes in two different ways. So उन्होंने उसका explain दिया कि ये dull number नहीं है. It is the smallest number which expressible as the sum of two cubes. दो cubes के sum in two different way. दो अलग तरह के नंबर से किया जाता है. So it is very important number. It was difficult in wartime to move Ramanujan to kinder climate. He died of tuberculosis back in Madras, Chennai. So due to tuberculosis, he died. Ramanujan in the Madras 2 years after the war. Okay, after the war, 2 years he died off because of the tuberculosis. As Hardy wrote in the Apology, his roll call of mathematicians, Galileo died at 21, Abel at 27, Ramanujan at 33, Riemann at 40. I do not know an instance of a major mathematical advance initiated by a man past 50. See, all these genius people, they died very early. See the Galois, he died at 21. So 21 years ke the. Abel, he died at the age of 27. Such young. Ramanujan at 33 and Riemann at 40. So no one past 50. Oh, okay. 21 years, 27 years, 33 years. So at the age of, at very young age, they died. So I do not know an instance of a major mathematical advance initiated by a man past 50. No man. So Riemann, he is a German mathematician. Okay. So this is about the topic Ramanujan. Here we have finished the topic Ramanujan. Okay. So question answers of this we will see in the next period. Okay. So your homework today, you have to read the lesson Ramanujan. Okay. Okay. So read it. We'll see the question answers of this lesson in the next period. Okay. Bye.